All right. Good morning.
Good
How
morning.
how are you this morning?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you.
Awesome. Well,
How
thank
are
you.
you?
I'm great. I am excited to have you. I'm honored to have you. Today's episode of With Your Mind in Mind, we have the fabulous Mrs. Lori Beard. I am going to, there's like applause everywhere. Yay, 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 yay. Well, welcome. So I had the opportunity to meet the fabulous Lori through a connection that we have in common. Miss Taylor. Long
Yes, thank you, Taylor.
Yes, thank you, Taylor. You're phenomenal.
Yes.
And so I don't necessarily do a good job of this, so I'm going to let Lori introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what she does, and you'll get to see her light. It's going to be amazing. So, welcome, Lori. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're passionate about.
Thank you, Sherry. And usually I'm very good at interrupting the people that are interviewing me at the beginning. And I'm like, oh, I'm excited to be here. And so I let you finish. And I'm like, now I want to tell you, I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be your guest. Yes, Taylor, I am excited and happy and grateful that you connected us. And again, I'm Lori, and I am to start when we were going through our conversation behind, backstage, quote unquote. I said, well, you can say I'm a mom, I'm a wife first. And those are my favorite roles in life. I'm a wife. I've been a wife for more than 26 years with the love of my life. And then I'm the natural mother of 8 children. And after that, I
Hold
am
on, hold on. I feel like we need to slow down because you went over that kind of quickly, and we need to probably spend a moment there. So I want to make sure that all of our With Your Mind in Mind fans heard you correctly, that you're married for over 26 years, which is great. But then I feel like you said like, and then I'm the natural mom of blah, blah, blah. So tell us that one more time, just to make sure we don't miss that.
it's 8 kids.
Ocho. Oh.
Yeah, because I decided to say and sum it all up with natural mother, because people are they foster and not, I mean, that's great. Are they adopted? Are there multiples? Da, da, da. I'm like, no, they're how can I say this in one phrase? And yes, they all came one at a time. Loved it. Beautiful season of my life, and I have that role, right, forever. And now I'm a grandma. I'm a grandma of 4.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting, and that gave me a lot of experience for me to want to study human behavior, etc. And then when my youngest one went to kindergarten, I decided to go to school too, and I am a life coach now and a clinical hypnosis practitioner. And I love to speak also to audiences, corporate podcasts like this one, and then what else? Oh, I have self-published a book. So that's it.
Oh, and that little thing and the whole book thing that it is. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh,
Lori
thank you.
is a phenomenal light. And for a little bit of background on why I asked her to be a part of this show, when we did get introduced, we had a conversation, and it was as if we'd known each other forever. She's got a passion and a heart for others, which that's what this platform is all about. The fact that she is choosing to do things that will help make our planet healthier, especially after this COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm excited to have you here. We're going to find out more about what it is that you'd like to get done this year and going on. So I'll start with just a couple of, I guess, we'll call them like parking lot items. So of course, you can just let me know if there's a question that you have. You can interrupt me. I'm totally fine with it because
Okay.
I ramble. So if you got to pull me back in, please do. So today is the 27th. Is it the 26th? Today's the 26th of May. Yesterday was Memorial Day. We are in the middle of Mental Health Awareness Month. So there's a lot of things happening right now, obviously in the middle of a pandemic. There's so much happening. So, Lori, just tell me a little bit about kind of, if you had to give me 3 words to help me try to center it right now in the midst of all of these things happening, especially, my story. So Memorial Day is a very sensitive day. So, give us some suggestions on some things we could do to just try to find our center and find our sense of peace during these times.
3 words. That's gonna be challenging.
Well, okay, phrases, they don't have
So there's so much I want to share. 3 words, I would sum it up to serenity, courage, and wisdom,
Okay.
maybe. Also, other 3 words. Let's see. I'll give them to you in sets of 3s.
I love it. I love it.
Self-care, if that's one word, it's kind of
Mhm.
compound, but self-care, and then invest.
Mm.
And then mindfulness would be one too.
Okay.
Those are my sets
Okay.
of 2-3 words.
Okay, so let's talk about, so I love all of them. So obviously serenity and courage and wisdom, there's that prayer around,
Yeah.
God grant me the serenity.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely understand those. And it seems like those should be a given, right? I mean, we should, but it's hard to find serenity right now. I mean, in the midst of all the chaos, I mentioned on my Instagram yesterday, like I just now realized that I was a part of the however millions of people have lost their jobs as due to this pandemic.
Right.
So it's kind of difficult to purposely find that serenity to stop
Yes.
and go, okay, Lord, I will remain calm in the middle of this. So that's good. Now I will ask you though, the last set of 3 words that you just gave me are more challenging for me. So
okay, tell me
this,
about it.
We'll make this a Sherry counseling session, but I think
Perfect.
I think others struggle with this as well, right? So self-care looks different for everyone, right? So I typically in the past found that the things that I identified as self-care weren't really. They were just habits that I needed to do in order to remain professional, right? I would get my hair done and I would get my nails done. That's not necessarily self-care per se. It's a part of my regimen, being a part of being employed. But I didn't it was a job. It was another task. So can we talk a little bit about that? What does self-care truly look like as opposed to ritualistic behavior that's been deemed by someone else as self-care?
Let me ask you, since this is a session, right?
Okay, yeah.
Let me ask you, and also because of my first language is not English, let me ask you if this word even exists and if I'm pronouncing it right.
Okay.
I want to ask you if you consider those tasks, right? Mm-hmm. Escapism. Is that a word?
Yeah, it is a word.
Okay.
It is a word. Mm-hmm.
Do you consider those escapisms instead?
I think it's a good question. I think that the answer is yes, and it's not that I see it as escapism. It's almost as if everyone else sees it as that. So, and I'm divorced, right? So it's just myself and my 31-year-old daughter and my 13-year-old son, right? And my cat. But even it's almost as if others see that as an escape, right? So if I'm like, hey, I've got to go do some self-care, I would imagine people would say, well, didn't you go get your nails done today? Like, so it's almost like other people may see it as an escape as well, because people still call you and they still FaceTime me, even if I'm at the spa, if I'm, so it's not really an escape. But that's a great point. I think it is probably more just slow down as opposed to actual self-care, intentional activities to make myself healthy mentally. So
there you go, especially for mental health and for sanity. So if you think of it, if you liken it to a car, I work a lot with metaphors. If you liken it to a car, you can do the bundle, you can do the wax, you can do all that in the exterior of the car, and that's maintenance. You're maintaining the car, and that's the important aspect of it. But then, are you changing the oil? Are you, taking care of the motor that runs it, etc.? And are you giving it the best fuel? In that case, is nutrition, or likening it to ourselves. And then, are you nourishing your mind and soul too with what you need? And those things are very good in these circumstances that we've facing in the last couple of months. People have needed to let go of those tasks because they were not available. You still need to do self-care. What did you do, Sherry, for self-care during those couple of months?
I don't know. I mean, I kept working, which I know that's not self-care, right? I kept working. I found more work to do and more things to do, and I stayed busy. I did continue to see my therapist, so I will say that I
Great.
did not get off
Great.
of that schedule. I am still very on target with that. But other
Important.
than that, I don't know that I did.
And congratulations that you did that, and you acknowledged, you recognized that it came to the surface and to your mind, and you mentioned it. How many people that are watching us right now did that or are doing that? There's a stigma that doing that it's not a good thing, and it's actually the opposite. It's a great thing for you to have a therapist, a mentor, a coach, somebody helping you see, look from the outside in to help you with your capabilities and possibilities, right? That you're not even aware of. And that is what I mean. I mean, you kept busy, you said, and you kept working, which can be very gratifying, because if you're a creator, if you're passionate about your mission and vision in life, that's important. Then at the same time, at the end of the day, it's like, I stayed busy, but did I take care of myself?
Yeah, I struggle with it. I think I find it harder to do now. And I think your word escapism is great, because when I was working full time and then it was an escape. I could put it on my calendar and go, hey, I'm going to the spa. It was a thing. But now there's no, that's not even an option.
That was not an option for a while.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I like that. Okay. So let's talk about invest. So your second set of words, self-care, which I failed. So I'm going to say I gave myself an F for that
one. I'm actually saying you're good. You're good. Embrace, love yourself, acknowledge, and give yourself some pats on the back.
Okay, I will. I got to work on that.
That's part of self-care too.
It is. I know. You'll have to hold me accountable for that. All right. So invest. So I would say, I would think I did well with that. I invested a lot of time in my business and in growing the show and in touching lives. So what does that look like? What does that really look like? Should I be looking for a return on investment? Should I have a business plan? Tell me more about what I should do to invest in myself.
What I mean for you as an individual, because this is our session, right? And people are watching, though.
Absolutely.
People are watching.
It's their session. I'm just being that kind of.
It's their session too. Investing in yourself, whether that's time or money, or the resources you need for progress. Okay. So you mentioned business a lot, and you're a recovering corporate person, right? Or
I am a recovering person. Yes.
And that is very big part of you as a professional, etc. And investment, you need to invest time, and with your passion and your mission, etc. I mean, of course, that is absolutely necessary. But then when you mention, hey, what 3 words come to your mind, especially for these times, I'm like, life threw a curve at us, and what is it? How are we spending or investing our time? Is it creating a new person? Is it creating something new? And who are we going to be after this? When all the doors are open, right? Who are we going to walk out of our own doors, to be? Lots of layoffs, right? Okay, so what is your next job if you want to continue being an employee for a corporation, or how are you going to reinvent yourself, taking the reins and creating your own business, your own project? It's just fascinating for me to see, and this is part of investing, and I hope I'm still answering. It's just fascinating for me to see the songs that came out of this pandemic, the new products and services, how businesses were shifting and they were investing that time in innovation and creativity, okay, to continue delivering, to continue honing on those skills they have that were probably suppressed with the daily activities of the hamster wheel, right? Rat race or hamster wheel. And oh my goodness, many wonderful things happened with lots of individuals. A real estate agent that's now doing a cooking show, people that are sewing the masks, people that are, the cleaning companies doing the very sanitary, more in depth, to clean this facilities with people that were infected, etc. I mean, it's just amazing. We see the celebrities, how they came up with songs and wonderful videos, and I still receive a magazine that helped this company understand that they didn't need to be in a location to make it happen. They were all the employees were in their own homes, and they still launched this magazine every month. They still delivered it. So investing that time to go, we were not able to go outside, but we were able to go inside.
Wow, that's good. That's really good. I love that. That's true. And I think you're right. I think as individuals and as organizations and startups and new companies, we do have to take that moment to go inside and go, how do I invest in? And you mentioned innovation. This is the time, I believe personally, these are the type of times when life changes. Like when something drastic or radical happens, usually even if it's negative, then there's so many good things that come out of it. And if we could focus on that, which I try to do with my kind of shelter in peace, here are the things I want to do. Shelter in place obviously has a negative connotation for the most part. So, even if it's that just, I want to shelter in peace. I am here. I'm safe.
I love that.
Thank you. So it's good. I think this is that reinventing and innovation. I love that. That's a key takeaway. Those are things that I could actually do to show that I'm investing in myself. So I appreciate that. That's really good.
I'm glad.
Right.
I'm glad.
You're awesome. I'm just going to pick your brain for as long as I can. All right. So the last one that you mentioned was mindfulness. Personally, I feel like that word is overused. I think everyone's talking about mindfulness, and I don't know that there's really a consistent message around what that looks like. So in your opinion, and obviously you are in hypnotherapy, so mindfulness is something that is probably even bigger in your line of work. So can you tell us a little bit about what does mindfulness really look like?
Can I ask you though first, because it's very interesting, and I agree with you when people overuse some words, right? Empowerment, everybody is wanting to empower somebody else, and things like that. So tell me about this circumstance right now. What does it mean to you, or what happens to your brain when you hear it? Like, here it is again, or something turns off?
I think the inconsistency of the message, like depending on who you hear it from, is frustrating. And so it seems like a sales tactic. It's like a little pitchy thing, right? Oh, we can help you with your mindfulness. And I'm like, honestly, my opinion of mindfulness is an empty mind. So it's the opposite, right? So to me, people are giving you these activities and these things and these tasks to do to ensure mindfulness. And in my opinion, mindfulness is the opposite of that. Mindfulness is an open mind to things that are not normally, I'm being inundated with thoughts and tasks and, expectations. I listened to Deepak Chopra, and he has this album called The Soul of, of course, I can't remember it now. Meditations, there's a word, I forget. I'll have to find it. But he goes through the alphabet, and every letter is a different word. And I thought about this after you and I spoke last time, because I know that that's your thing. You love like linking things to letters. Yeah. I think it's called the Soul of Healing, the whole Soul of Healing meditation. Anyway, and he says that mindfulness is like letting go of your ego, right? It's not about how I look and what I think. It's just about connection. So yeah, my feeling about mindfulness, I think it's overused. I understand mindfulness being the empty mind, to just absorb and heal and listen.
And does that is that more meaningful for you, that definition? Beautiful. Very good. Very good. And then between mindfulness and mindset, do you feel any difference there? It's the same.
I think there's a huge difference. A mindset is kind of the structure by which I execute my daily tasks. Or mindset is like an ultimate goal. So my mindset is, I have a servant's mindset. I want to help others. I want people to be better after knowing me than before. And so that's a mindset. It's how I execute the things that I do. Versus mindfulness is who I am underneath all of that, right? And the connection to the people that I hope to serve with my mindset. So I do see them as separate.
That's wonderful, though. You have a great perception and a great definition. So I encourage you to hang on to that definition that gives you peace. And you're like, okay, this is my definition of mindfulness, you know? And then mindset has to do a lot with values. But when I say, and character, right? You said you have a mindset of service. Well, that has to do a lot with values, which is so important and it's like a moral compass, or it defines who we are in our character, right? So mindfulness is also, in my interpretation of everything, it's like being present in the moment and being grounded. And sometimes we are so caught up with the past, or we're caught in which can be and lead us to depression. And then we're also anxious about the future. That means we're like anxious, we have anxiety, we're nervous about the future. So mindfulness to me is like being present and grounded. I'm sure you've heard that being present is the best present.
Yeah.
So that's mindfulness. It's awareness, it's grounding. It's like, okay, what's happening right now? What am I feeling right now? How can I best deliver this right now? Child comes in, storms in with whatever, and you're so grounded and so present that you're not going to lash out. You're not going to react like a chemical reaction, right? You're going to respond according to the need of the being and the individual, coworker, boss, whatever, people you're serving, right? And your nonprofits and amazing projects. You're just so mindful of what's happening because you're grounded and present that you're going to be able to respond rather than react to life circumstances and others.
So tell me a little bit about hypnotherapy and how does that play into all of that? You know, how does hypnotherapy help a person find that mindfulness and find that peace? Because it's very difficult to be grounded. I understand the steps that it takes to get there. It is very challenging for me to turn off all of the channels that are playing in my brain. They're good things, right? There are people that I want to help, but so tell me a little bit about your practice and how does hypnotherapy take someone like myself and help us turn off all of these screens so that we can actually find that state of mindfulness?
Wonderful. So that's a great question. Hypnosis is an altered state of consciousness that allows for you to focus on something, right? We get hypnotized every day. Let me tell you the news. When you're, a while back or now that everything's reopening, when you used to drive to the same place, work, whatever, and you realize, oh, I'm already here. Have you ever gone through that?
I've done that experience? A lot, yeah.
What do you think that means then?
I say that I'm on autopilot, that I'm just like, I'm on autopilot. I'm just doing the same. Yeah.
Your subconscious mind knew where to go because it's like something that's habitual. It's something that's repetitive, something that you've done for a while. And then your conscious mind was thinking of the to-do. What do you usually think about when you're driving?
like the meeting that I'm on my way to, or the meeting that I just left, or I'm typically on a call while I'm driving, so I'm multitasking.
There you go.
So I'm not thinking of anything else but what I'm actually doing. So yeah.
So I perceive there's not a lot of mindfulness there. Maybe you're present in the call. Yeah. You're not present in the and then our minds already know red light, stop. The same as we blink, as we breathe. There's some things that are automated, or you said auto mode or turbo mode?
I don't know what I said. Autopilot.
Autopilot, right?
Yeah.
So the same way we are in autopilot with the scripts we have in our head about our past, with inflicted by external voices, that mom, that dad, that teacher that didn't like us and told us hurtful things, or self-inflicted. I've had clients that I'm like, okay, who's that voice that you're hearing? Was it your mom? Was it an adult? And he's like, no, it's my own voice. So it's whether self-inflicted, right, or an external voice, an external track like a long plane, right, or CD track that keeps playing in our head, okay. And unconsciously, we're getting that message and that message again and again and again. If I'm clumsy, furthermore, our subconscious mind's going to believe it. Okay, I'm clumsy. Furthermore, I'm going to act clumsy. all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you reprogram that, it helps you. And to go through my sessions, to go through guided meditations that you listen with the apps, etc., you need to hold still. You need to open your mind to new information. And that is mindfulness too, because then you are being grounded, you're being present, allowing for your brain to receive information and let go of what's toxic and you don't need. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like personally, I am terrified of hypnosis, right? The thought of, but that's just me. I mean, and I'm just being honest, and I'm sure that there are other people, our listeners who feel the same way. Understanding the way the brain works, the id, versus conscious versus subconscious. I probably know more about that than I should, because it makes me terrified of, like, I don't know if I want to give someone access to that part of me. I'm terrified of it personally, just in the work that I've been doing in the past few years in therapy, because I worked so hard to build these walls around that core me, right? I don't want to remember the pain and the trauma of my past, and so I just build all these walls up. And so for me, I think hypnosis or hypnotherapy is like a pure, like, open kimono moment. Like, this is all of me, and it's terrifying. So, and again, I'm sure nobody else feels that way. Maybe it's just me. But
no,
how would you help me overcome that kind of fear of the vulnerability that exists in hypnosis?
Thanks for sharing. And let me tell you something. What if I told you that you would share less, or it's not as necessary for you to open up that much and share than the traditional therapy?
Wow.
What if I tell you there's a big difference there? Will that make...
Well, tell me more. I want to understand that. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, of course, because, typically my clients are people that have been in, and I love traditional licensed therapy practitioners, etc. It has a place. It helps. And somebody needs to diagnose. Somebody needs to give all that book knowledge that is necessary, right? With people that come to me that have gone through therapy for 20 years or several years of their lives hit a plateau. Because like you said, you build all these walls that are protecting you and are contributing for you to suppress your real feelings to a point where you don't even know how to articulate what it is the matter, because the tip of the iceberg is the symptoms that you and your therapist are analyzing and discussing, but under that there's so many subconscious and subliminal other issues that you don't even know how to articulate. So with hypnosis, you provide a lot of context, not content. And we deal with emotions, right? Rather than, can I use you as an example in divorce, right? You said the word divorce. Sure. And me, I am a product of a divorce household too. And with you, probably let me ask if there's resentment involved.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
Not anymore, but there was a lot initially. Absolutely.
Anger or guilt. Okay.
Absolutely.
So that is more than enough for you to say, because of my divorce, I'm experiencing a lot of resentment, anger, or guilt. And then we deal with that. We deal with those emotions. And especially with my method, I help you release, remove, reframe, and resolve those feelings or emotions without talking a lot. And then when we decide to go on the trance state and the hypnosis part of it, we decide on a script, or like it's a narration, or or that will change your narrative. Literally, it's going to change your narrative around it, and it's metaphorical, and it helps you, and it's amazing. And it doesn't matter if we were in a session for 1 hour or 90 minutes. The subject, the individual, the person, usually comes back from the trance saying, all this time I thought it was X, Y, Z. And as it turns out, it was A, B, C. And I'm like, wonderful. I couldn't have done that, talking to you for 20 years, or you couldn't have trying to articulate that. And there's just so many wonderful discoveries that happened.
That's amazing.
When we allow the subconscious mind to do the work.
That's
means
amazing.
Turning ego off.
Yeah, and which we can't typically do in, you know, our current state. I will tell you that's like extremely fascinating for a couple of reasons. So my son he'll be 13 soon, and he struggled with epilepsy. He had seizures when he was younger, and we took him to a cognitive behavioral therapist, and what we saw was exactly what you're talking about. It wasn't via hypnosis though, but it was like, you know, he would go in and he put this thing on his head with all these leads, and he was able to make things on the computer screen move by just thinking it, right? And so it was ultimately he was able to reprogram his brain when he would have an aura about to have a seizure. You know, it built new kind of neural net pathways so that he could go, yeah. And we got to see that happen. It was amazing. This is why the work that you do is so interesting to me, because I've seen it work. I've watched my son be able to seemingly subconsciously, almost not, I'm going to say choose, because I'm not a therapist and I don't know the right words to use, but he was able to reprogram his brain from an active tonic-clonic seizure state where he was completely, you know, out of it to, you know, okay, something feels strange. What do I need to do? Instead of doing that thing that I've been doing, which at that point had been his whole life, to I'm just going to take a moment. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to focus, or I'm going to remove myself. Like he just, so I love that. I love
he
that.
learned coping skills.
He learned, yes,
right?
absolutely.
And he learned to understand where was this stemming from or coming from to then reprogram. That is wonderful. I appreciate you sharing that. And I'm not the expert that will tell you the results and the scientific proofs and studies out there. But yes, I am glad you mentioned it, because definitely there's proof of people undergoing hypnosis. You know, and that's the beautiful thing about this. Hypnosis is not the only tool or the only modality out there available for these kinds of transformation. There's Reiki, there's EFT, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, people out there. You know, there's so many things that have proven amazing to help you. It's a, you know, shortcut your pathway to happiness, joy, and fulfillment.
I love it. You're so amazing. Okay, so
you
have the thank you. So you have the opportunity to ask the viewers of this show for a call to action. So I want to know, what can we do for you? Like, how do we help you? How do we get in contact with you? How do we find out more about your practice? What would you like the people who watch this show, what would you like for them to do?
Take action. And I love it. This is the call to action. One way I'm providing assistance or support during these times is with a Zoom video call. They're weekly, and you are welcome to check out that link. And Sherry will share for this wonderful serenity, courage, and wisdom calls. It's 1 hour. I honor your time. They're going to be recorded, so that means you will get it after. It's $9, $9, you know, Starbucks or, you know, a latte or something. It's right, yeah. You know, for the price of something that this is very good information. I share content. I hold space for you to express yourself depending on the size of the group. And it's interactive. I share content, and we end up, if there's time, right? And intuitive, like I think, okay, will the people benefit more from the content and the discussion? And then if there's time, we do a guided meditation.
Oh, wow.
So they're at 9 p.m. on Tuesdays. This is US Central Time. 9 because people are done if you're a mom with your kids, or if you're a professional with your responsibilities, and it gets you ready for the night, especially with the guided meditation. That's a way for me to give and provide support at this time at a very reasonable amount of money. And so will you have one tonight? I can have one tonight.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I didn't know if you, okay. I'm like, we will try to get people to sign up tonight if that's the case. Okay,
Yes,
that's great.
absolutely.
Okay.
And then yeah, steadfastforward.com is my website, and social media. I'm everywhere like Lori Beard, Lori Beard Coaching on Instagram. So that's where you can find me.
I
And through
love it.
Sherry.
Oh, yay. You are phenomenal. Your energy is infectious. I so appreciate you having, taking the time out to talk to us today. I am excited about, I want to join one of the Zoom Tuesday night
Oh,
calls. So
absolutely.
I need to know when the next one is. I will make sure to let all of our viewers see that. And we will add the link to this video to make sure that people have access to you. And so before we wrap up, I just want to tell you that I did this, the video yesterday on Instagram, and you mentioned it when we talked a little bit before the show. And the word necessary is kind of my word for the week. And
Yes.
I want to let you know that, that every single conversation that you have, just like I said on the video yesterday, is absolutely necessary. And I know that you heard me say that yesterday, but this is like directly to you.
Oh.
And I love that you have a passion for this work. I know that you have a targeted group, like a demographic that you're setting out for, but know that, there are so many people that are still being touched by the work that you're doing, even if they're
Oh.
outside of that. So I want to thank you for that. I want to let you know that I really appreciate the work that you're doing and the time that you're spending and the amount of creativity that you have around it, because I think that's a challenge, right? People are like, I don't want to hear the same, staccato over and over. And so you
Right.
bring a life and a vibrance to it, and the
Oh.
creativity by being able to give us tools that we can quickly cope in the moment, like 2 weeks from now when I'm like, oh, I remember what Lori said, right? So
Right.
thank you for that. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I appreciate you more than I can say. But I know that that I'm a huge fan. So thank you.
Oh, likewise. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. And then, of course, this synergy or connection that happened instantly is amazing. So thank you, because I also feel your energy, your passion, your determination to help all those souls out there that need your light, that need specifically you. And that's the beauty of it. People listening and all that, we each have our work to do on this earth. We have that intention and purpose. And it's so important for you to lighten up and awake to that passion and that mission and vision that you have in this life, because Sherry and I can be saying things here, but not until somebody hears it from you. Yes, from you
Yes.
out there, that it sparks something in somebody. So that's the magic we each have, because we're gonna touch some people. Some might not feel the same as Sherry after seeing me talking, etc., or listening to this, but then somebody else will spark that magic and create that sense of and it's so necessary, a sense
Mm-hmm.
of need, a sense of
Mm-hmm.
urgency in
Right.
those necessary changes and transformation that need to happen so you can be your best out there and shine your light to the world.
You're amazing. Thank you so much, Lori. I really appreciate this time. We will have this up and out there for the world to see very soon. So I'm excited. One more time, what's your website?
Steadfast-forward.com, right
Okay.
there.
All
Mm-hmm.
right. So we will find you there. Thank you, Lori, and peace and light until we can chat again. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.